This programme was produced at and first aired on MPR, Manawatu People's Radio, with support from New Zealand On Air. Ka pai Irarangi Tamotu, MPR.
Kia ora e te whānau, welcome to RIMA Kōrero, and welcome back to our previous listeners, and a big welcome to our new listeners. So, RIMA Podcast is now a show on the MPR and called RIMA Kōrero, which is very exciting. So now you can access it at the MPR website, on the Think Haura YouTube channel, as well as any platform to listen to your podcasts. Today we have a very special guest with us here. We have Jacqui Thompson and Anishka from Diabetes Trust. Hello everyone, how are you?
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Hi,
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
How are you feeling? Feeling good and nice?
And thank you for having us. This is really exciting for us to be able to come along and do this. So
Yeah.
and thank you listeners.
And it's really nice, right? The studio and stuff, it's very professional.
Very professional. I feel very special being here.
Nice upgrade. We went from February's iPad to now we're in an actual studio.
I know, right?
Very nice.
So hopefully this will be an exciting news for the listener as well, that now we're more professional. And so Jacqui, do you want to explain about the Diabetes Trust and your role there?
Sure. So this is very long, Manawatu Horowhenua Tararua Diabetes Trust. We just call ourselves MHT Diabetes Trust, or just the Diabetes Trust, everyone seems to know us as. So we are contracted by Mid-Central DHB to provide services to people with diabetes and their whānau.
Yes.
So we actually provide over 200 education classes per year, diabetes education and pre-diabetes education. So we really encourage people who have got diabetes, pre-diabetes or whānau to come along to those classes and learn more about how they can manage their diabetes or their pre-diabetes and basically live a better, longer, healthier life.
Right. How about you, Anishka?
Well, I'm a diabetes dietitian. I've been in this role for about 3 months now at the Diabetes Trust, and I'm going to be here for a year, but I hope that as we continue and the more people we meet and speak to, that I'll be able to stay here for a bit longer. But when I was studying and doing my internship, I had a lot of opportunity to work with people of different backgrounds who had type 2 diabetes or had pre-diabetes.
Yes.
So although I'm new, this is a great opportunity for me to help people as much as I can.
That's fantastic. Sounds really good.
Kia ora te whānau. Jacqui back again. So I'm a nurse for the Diabetes Trust, and I've been in this role for, goodness me, 16 years.
Oh my God.
So I love it. I think if I've been here for that long, it must show that I do really love my role, and I love being able to help and empower people to get the understanding and the confidence to manage their diabetes and their pre-diabetes. So I find that really, really rewarding, and that's why I guess I keep coming to work every day. So our classes, as we talked about before, are free. So which is awesome.
That's fantastic,
So there is such a thing as a free lunch, because we do actually give you food on our classes as well. We feed you. There's that saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, there is when you come to our classes. We give you a free lunch, or you may, depending on the time of the day, it may be a light tea as well. So, Yeah. So we can talk more about at the end about how to access our services. But
Okay, before we go in deep on that, do you mind to tell us more about what is diabetes?
Okay, so today we're probably talking more about type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
So type 2 diabetes is when there's too much glucose or sugar in your blood. So glucose comes from the food that we eat, like carbohydrates, so the starchy foods and sugary foods and drinks. And there's others as well, but Anishka will probably get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
She's a dietitian, that's her area of expertise. But you do need to have some glucose in your blood, but high glucose levels can damage our body over time. So, so basically with type 2 diabetes, it's either there's not enough insulin or the insulin isn't working properly. And we need the insulin is like the key that unlocks the door to our cells and takes the glucose into our body cells for energy. So when we don't have enough insulin or no insulin at all, then the glucose stays in our blood. And that's what causes the complications of diabetes over time.
Oh, okay.
So that's type 2 diabetes, whereas type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition, and that's where the pancreas, the cells in the pancreas aren't making any insulin at all. So a person with type 1 diabetes will always need to have insulin to maintain life.
Oh, is it right that type 1 diabetes is like heritage, like from your gene, for your family, or anyone can get type 1 and type 2? Like, how do you get diagnosed?
There is a strong genetic hereditary link with type 1 and type 2. So both of them, if you've got a family member or whānau with either type 1 or type 2, you're more likely to develop type 1 or type 2. But in saying that, it can be some lifestyle things as well. So it might not necessarily, you may be the only person in your family that develops type 1 or type 2. Type 1 diabetes is not usually influenced by lifestyle. It's an autoimmune condition, and so there's very little you can do to prevent it. So that's type 1 diabetes. So it's important people do understand the difference.
Yeah, that's really important,
Type 2 diabetes, we can do some things to prevent ourselves from getting it or to lower our risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And that's a lot of the lifestyle things of, watching what we're eating, managing our weight, not smoking, being exercising and moving our bodies more. So, so those are just some good things to think about prevention-wise.
Yeah. But so we basically have to keep fit,
Absolutely. And a lot of that is just good, healthy diet, information and what we'd be doing to help prevent lots of other health conditions as well.
Yeah. So is it true that diabetes is a very serious condition?
Yes, February, you're absolutely spot on there. Diabetes has often been called, and I don't want to frighten anybody, but it's often been called the silent killer because it can creep up on you, and again I'm more talking about type 2 diabetes here, but it can actually creep up on you quite slowly that you don't know that you've got the condition, and sometimes people find out by pure coincidence, so they might be going to see their doctor or their nurse about some other health condition, and they run some blood tests and they go, oh gosh, your blood tests have actually come back showing you've got type 2 diabetes. So not everybody gets symptoms, and it does sort of...
that was the question. Is there any symptoms?
Up on you slowly. Yes, so I'll come back to those in a minute. So I'll just talk about the seriousness of type or diabetes. So before, when we said what diabetes is, so it's when there isn't enough insulin and there's too much glucose is built up in the bloodstream. Our bodies are like finely tuned machines, and they only like things at certain levels. So if our blood glucose levels are higher than they should be, then that damages our blood vessels over time. And that's what leads to the complications of diabetes. So many of our organs can be affected. And the most common ones, and some of you listeners, you wonderful listeners out there will be aware, or you'll have whānau with some of these complications, or you'll know somebody, maybe someone you work with. But, they may have problems with their vision, or they've problems with their heart, kidneys or lower limbs. So those are the 4 main parts of the body that are affected by diabetes, medium to long term, if it's not managed well. So that's the eyes, the heart, the kidneys and the lower limbs. Those are the main parts of the body affected by diabetes if it's not managed well. But turning that into a positive, that's what we're all about at the Diabetes Trust, is making people aware of the seriousness of diabetes, but then giving them the confidence and empowering them to manage their diabetes well so that they can lower their risks of developing those complications.
That's really good to turn that, something that's scary to something very positive, and how to live with it. That's why this is called healthy living well. with diabetes.
Nothing wrong with diabetes, absolutely. And we want people to go away feeling confident, empowered and encouraged that they can actually do something themselves to manage their diabetes.
Yes,
we don't ever want to set the goal too big or too scary that people think, just give up and say, I can't do that. But we always want people to think, yes, I've got this, I can do this. With some help and support, and of course you need your whānau around you. And your health professionals as well, your support people. But we do, I guess, try and help people navigate the ways that they can look after themselves and work really well with their health professionals as well to get
fantastic. That's really good. Yeah, wow.
And also people can always come back. So if you've done one of these classes or you would like to, you've had diabetes for about 20 years now, or pre-diabetes for 15 years, you can always come to these classes. And I see sometimes Jacqui walking around with her models. And she's got, the pancreas and the model of the heart, and she explains it really well. So sometimes we need the visual as well as hearing about how to manage our diabetes.
That's true.
There are so many different ways we can teach.
Yeah, that's very true,
And we do, Anishka's exactly right. So we do, I guess, try and cater for all the different ways that people learn. So we have PowerPoint, so things are very visual. We have discussions. People ask us questions. We do have visual models and pictures and things like that because not everybody learns this in the same way. And so we do try and make it that most people can learn. And listeners, you would laugh if you saw me while I'm doing this, as I'm using my hands because I explain a lot. So you would laugh.
But I love your spirit, Jacqui. I always do.
Oh, well, I really...
Your vibe.
I think we always do try and make our classes fun as well.
Yes, and that's very important.
So important because, having a long-term condition such as diabetes can be really scary and really daunting for a lot of people.
Of course,
So we always do try and make our classes really welcoming and have a little bit of the fun factor in there as well. Just because I feel that that's all part of the positiveness of helping people to move forward. Our classes have all got a take action theme, so we want people to obviously come in and learn, but we really want people to be taking action as well. We need to set some goals and get cracking and all working on our health together.
That's right. And I went to one of your classes, the one with the former refugee community at ELP. Do you want to explain more about that one? Because it was really, really good.
Oh, wow. So we started working with former refugees probably about 6 or 7 years ago because we became aware that a lot of the former refugees who predominantly come from into our part of the world predominantly come from Asia, and a lot of them had quite a large disease burden of diabetes.
Yes.
So we started working with them on Saturday mornings at a community hall. And then it sort of just grew, and we thought we would really like to be able to offer these services to more of the new Kiwis.
Yes.
And so we partnered up with an English language school.
Yes.
Little plug there for English language partners, and they were so supportive to what we were trying to do with the new Kiwis. So they provided the interpreters, and we came along and just basically gave our programs with the new Kiwis, talking to them about diabetes and healthy eating and the importance of physical activity, taking their medication, learning how to work with their health professionals about medications, lots and lots of things like that. And then that's also flowed on to other health issues as well with the new Kiwis around heart disease, mental health and well-being. So lots of things. So it's kind of morphed and grown into other topics as well. But we did start off with the diabetes theme as being the key theme.
Yeah, fantastic.
I
heard about the feedback, and the feedback was really positive from the community. Like they really need your session, your class for them, and that it really gives them like lots of insight and understanding about diabetes.
Oh, that's really good to hear, and we found them, the new Kiwi community, absolutely delightful to work with, and we could learn a lot about them. We've also partnered with, I must give a big plug to Sport Manawatu and Katrina Gemmell and her team. We've partnered with them to deliver these sessions as well, so that they've actually had a practical hands-on session of doing physical activity, and and actually seeing that physical activity can be fun.
Yes.
And there's lots of laughter, lots of humour and laughter at these classes. So they've been fantastic, and we've been well supported to do that work. Yes. So,
that's fantastic. Going back to diabetes, so how is the best way possible to manage diabetes?
Okay, so we sort of talk about, we try and keep it as simple as we can to start with. So we do talk about the triangle of diabetes management, and the three things on that triangle are healthy food choices.
Oh, healthy food choices.
Healthy food choices, which I think Anishka will probably talk a bit more about, because that's her area of expertise.
Yeah. Okay.
So healthy food choices, becoming or keeping physically active, so physical activity, and taking medications if they're prescribed to help you manage your diabetes. So healthy food choices, physical activity, and medications if they are prescribed. So those are the three main things for helping a person manage their diabetes and manage it well. There are other things that we can add on to that, but just keeping it really simple for today.
Okay.
It's those are the three fundamentals for managing diabetes and managing it well.
Healthy food choices, physical activities, and medication.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so now to you, Anishka. What is healthy diet? Like, how does it look like?
So with type 2 diabetes, our goal is to make sure that the glucose or the sugars in our foods, our carbohydrates, are lower. And so we're decreasing the amount of carbohydrates that we're eating, because we're not producing a lot of insulin anymore. So when we've got a lower amount of insulin, we need to make sure that we need to lower our carbohydrate intake, so then there's that match.
Yeah.
And so we have enough insulin to attach onto the sugar and the glucose, and to take it to other parts of our body.
Oh,
so you can get sugar, starches, fibre, which are all types of carbohydrates, and they're found in many foods. You can find in fruits, breads, cereals, rice, even in dairy products. And, it's just about, we help you to manage these foods.
Yeah.
And we do go over things like the healthy plate model, which shows that there are so many ways to lower carbohydrates in our diet. So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
That's really good. Yep.
If someone finds that they are able to have more fibre in their diet, then they can do healthy swaps.
Okay.
If someone finds that, for whatever reason, maybe there's cultural reasons that they need to be having rice or taro, starchy foods, this is where we can go into portion control.
Yeah, so that was the question, that in some culture, rice is really important. Like, for example, going back from, like, me back in Indonesia, we haven't had our meal if we haven't had rice. And that's how important rice is. And is it true that rice is bad and we just have to cut it off? And, because it's part of our culture, sometimes it is really hard to do that. So what should we do?
Well, if, for some people, rice, they can't remove rice out of their diet because, how are they going to go into celebrations and take part in, a lot of cultural things, like you say.
Culture aspect, yep.
So the best idea there is to reduce the amount of rice you have on your plate and increase the amount of vegetables you have.
So more vegetables.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because vegetables do have a lot of fibre.
A lot of, yeah.
And the reason why I say fibre is because fibre releases the amount of sugar it has. So the amount of sugar from fibre that releases into the bloodstream is very slow. And our insulin is able to remove that sugar at a slower pace.
Yeah.
Whereas foods like rice and high sugar foods, they spike our blood sugar levels.
Okay. Okay.
So what we end up doing is we don't have a lot of insulin. We have too much sugar in our bloodstream.
Yeah.
And that's what's increasing our levels and increasing the risk of getting diabetes.
Okay.
So if you were to replace that large amount of rice with, half of it,
Yeah.
and then the other half you can fill up your plate with vegetables or other curries,
Yeah.
that's a really good option there.
Oh, okay. So for example, like this is my meal. Half of my meal will be my carbs, which is my rice or potatoes, and then half of it will be my fiber.
Yes, so
Is that how? Is it that one that's balanced? Is that a balanced diet?
So overall, when we talk about the healthy plate model, on your plate, we recommend having a quarter of your
Okay.
plate to be carbohydrate like rice or pasta.
Okay.
And then half of your plate will be vegetables.
Okay.
And the rest can be meat or any kind of protein.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's quite simple for the listeners to understand, like their healthy or balanced meal.
Yes.
Okay. And is it true that having a healthy diet or healthy meal is expensive?
Well, we do look at, we go shopping ourselves and as part of our cooking class that we provide to our members as well. And we've seen that when you buy the fruits and the vegetables that seem as if it's quite expensive, over time, it actually turns out to be cheaper than if you were going for takeaway options.
Yeah.
Or if you were going for, the kinds of foods like bakery foods and going to the cafe and, already if you were to buy, I think, 2 things from a cafe, it costs so much.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But over time, if you were to just, at dinner time, pack some of your leftovers away for lunch, that's a lot of a cheaper option.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I've done for lunch today, Anishka. Last night, some
Oh, very nice.
leftovers.
Yeah.
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 That's a really good idea. And it's also buying vegetables that are in season, fruits and vegetables that are in season. And frozen options are often really cheap, a cheaper option too, aren't they? So there are some ways to get it. And start growing a vegetable garden.
Oh, that's a good tip. That's correct.
Come on, people, start getting your spades out and growing a veggie garden. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, right. And we can use the frozen one, right? It's still healthy.
That's right. Some people think that because it's
frozen,
that the nutrients have escaped. But if anything, as soon as they've been picked from the garden, they get frozen almost
straight away.
Immediately once they get put into the production line. So the nutrients are now trapped and they're frozen. So when you cook it, it's still got almost the same amount of nutrients in there as the fresh version.
Because sometimes when I'm going to buy the frozen one, people be like, that's not healthy. Don't get that one, get the fresh one because it's like from different aisle. When you go to Pack and Save, the first one's a fresh one. And sometimes, yes, it is more expensive, but like what Jacqui said, buy the seasonal one and grow your own garden.
Yes. And the difference in nutrients between the frozen one and the fresh vegetables is very small.
Oh.
It's not such a big difference that you can't have it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. What about the fruits or vegetables in like a can?
If you were to go for canned fruits and canned veggies, try and go for the ones that say low in salt or sodium.
Yeah.
Or low
in sugar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, but it's also still healthy.
So with vegetables, yes, it is as healthy. It's put in the can, so there may be some preservatives in there because vegetables, they go bad over time. But in a can, we expect the vegetables to last as long as possible. So they might have something added into it, like preservatives, or they might put a bit of salt in it to make sure that it's still
fresh
or, it's still at that edible.
Yeah. Okay.
way. But with fruits, I think the only thing that's jumping out to me is fruits that are canned and fruit juices can become a bit tricky. So you'd rather go for the fresh fruits. Only because when we go for canned fruits, like if we go for the peaches or the pear halves, we're more likely to have a bit more than we normally would. And same thing with fruit juices. It's so easy to have those foods.
Yeah.
You know, whereas with fruits, we're unlikely to have 5 apples in one sitting.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
with canned fruits, it's so sweet and it's so nice that you want to keep going for seconds. Or with fruit juice, you feel the need to finish the entire bottle. When in reality, that's like 5 pears and, you know.
And dried fruits is the same, isn't it? Like we have to be really careful with the amount of dried fruit we have as well. Because there can be a little trap there too. Like it's very easy. And listeners, I'll let you in on, it's not such a secret, but I can eat a lot of dried apricots in one sitting. But I couldn't probably sit down and eat 10 raw apricots.
That's right, yeah.
There's just little things that you have to be really mindful of if you're not having the actual fresh produce.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. I can eat lots of dried mangoes. And sometimes they add more sugar in it.
Yes.
So it's like very sweet and, you know, I thought that I'm eating healthy, where actually that is not healthy.
Yeah.
No, sadly, all of the, they take out the good stuff. So they take out the fibre and they take out the vitamins, and so that sweetness is left.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting.
And the water's all gone too, isn't it?
Yeah. So going back to the Diabetes Trust and the service, so how can we access the service?
So, a good question, February. So people can actually do it the old-fashioned way and ring us. So 06 357 5992.
Okay.
So that's 06 357 5992, and that they'll get our lovely administrator Sharon.
So
she'll be able to help them out. You can also access us online, so www.diabetestrust.org.nz, and you can actually register for classes directly online as well.
Yeah.
Or your health provider can also refer you into our services as well. Some people even just drop in to see us at 200 Broadway Ave.
Yes.
Or send us an email. If you go onto our website, you'll see our email addresses as well. So lots of different ways that you can contact us, but your health provider should have our contact details as well. Or just Google Diabetes Trust and it'll actually come up with our website too. So people can self-refer into our programs, or they can be referred by their health professional into our programs. So we'd love to see you all there. We're all about helping people, as I said before, empower and get the confidence to be able to manage their diabetes and their pre-diabetes and live well and enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
Do those things that you want to do with your whānau and all those other things that you want to do. Yeah, that's what we're all about that.
Fantastic.
You can also bring in a support person if you find that usually we've got, you know, men that come in and they want to learn about diabetes and how they can manage their diabetes better. But most of the time, their wives are at home cooking for them. So it's a good option for both to come along and actually
that's really good.
understand how, you know, with our cooking classes that we've got in our carbohydrate awareness, some simple swaps that they can take to so both can work together at home. Even though we promote self-management with diabetes, it's good to have that support as well. Yeah. So you're more than welcome to bring in a support person.
We love it when people bring support people. We actually almost really encourage it because 2 sets of ears and eyes are better than one as well.
That's correct, So they can like help each other.
Totally.
Right,
Yeah, absolutely.
So we mentioned about classes. What are the classes?
Okay, so we offer a range of classes, remembering out there that these are all free of charge. So our base class is what we call our Diabetes Take Action Healthy Living, and that's a 3-module class. So that's all our classes are about 2 hours long. But this you come into class for 2 hours 3 times, so a week apart. So that's our Diabetes Take Action Healthy Living.
Yeah.
Then we have Diabetes Take Action Carbohydrate Awareness, and that's just one class.
Yeah.
Then we also offer Diabetes and Pre-Diabetes Take Action Food Label Reading. Then this is the one that is very popular, is Diabetes and Pre-Diabetes Take Action Cooking Series. So people
that
love
sounds so fun.
Yeah. You get to taste the food as well and take recipes home. So that one's lots of fun. And then specifically for people who've got pre-diabetes, we do have a pre-diabetes Take Action Get Educated class as well.
Yeah.
And just something to add in this year since COVID, so every cloud does have a silver lining. We have actually added in Zoom classes as well, so that's available.
Fantastic,
So most of our classes are face-to-face and people love it that they're coming together and meeting other people with diabetes or pre-diabetes, so they really get that support from being with another person who has the same condition as them. They don't feel that they're alone anymore or they're the only person with this condition. So we notice lots and lots of chit-chat and even some banter and humour amongst the class participants, and they really enjoy that being together. It's really important for them. But then added onto that, we do realise that not one size fits all, so we have also added in Zoom classes. All our classes are also available in Zoom as well for this year and hopefully going forward. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much for Jacqui and Anishka for coming today. It has been such a privilege to have this kōrero, and I believe we all can take this away with us, this very good information. So what I'm hearing is that diabetes can be a very serious long-term condition. However, if it's managed well, the risk of complication are hugely decreased.
Absolutely. You're spot on, February. You've got it in one. Absolutely. And that's what we're all about, is helping people to understand the seriousness of it, but then not get frightened by it and actually understand there are some really positive things that they can do to help themselves, to avoid those complications and basically to live a well and healthy and happy and long life. I think that's what most of us want to do, isn't it? So we're about helping people with diabetes achieve that as well.
Cool. And thank you, listener, for listening. Ka kite, kia ora.
Kia ora.
Support this show and others like it by giving a donation. For more information, go to www.mpr.nz/donate.